Hello, welcome to the Podcasters Podcast. I'm Ash and I'm here with Tom from Progressive Media, and today we're talking about sponsorship. Tom, is it possible to get sponsorship before releasing a single episode?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people make the mistake in thinking they have to get hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of downloads before they can monetize their show in any way, let alone just using sponsors or advertisers. And it's definitely not the case if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was going to say, why would someone sponsor your content before seeing any sort of content?
Totally, yeah. So it is absolutely possible to get sponsors before you have any downloads, any listens. What you're going to look for is selling a potential sponsor or advertiser on the idea that, you are going to run this show for a long time. The show will be successful based on your determination, your track record, and you're giving them an opportunity to buy ads on your first batch of episodes for the cheapest those ads will ever be. And if you show that you have, the passion and, the determination, and that you have a track record that they can reference of successful things, either in business or whatever, you can show to people that, yes, you can buy ads before I've ever delivered anything. And if you think there are a lot of businesses that are set up like this, businesses that will sell, every month, every magazine in the world sells all its ads before it writes a single word. And they sell it based on what they know is going to happen. And the same way, if you set up a new magazine or a new publishing business, you'll sell ads before you've printed a single issue or published a single thing. People will buy and be bought in based on how you can convince them it's going to be a success. And with podcasting, that's really, really good, because we know that, over time, 50+% of all of your downloads come from old episodes, and that for most podcasters, their first episode is the most downloaded episode of all time. So if you're going to run the show for, years, that episode will get, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of downloads over that time. And you can offer to advertisers, they can buy that for what your future market rate will be very, really cheap. And it's a great way that you can get some seed capital to start your podcast. And you could sell, say, your first 10 episodes as a season. You could sell it, your first 20 episodes, and you could give them an exclusive so that you'll never sell those ads again. And if you know what you're doing and you have the right passion and the right track record to prove to people, you can sell ads before you've even recorded a single word.
Got you. And where do you find the people typically to sponsor you before you've released an episode?
Good question. So with most things with podcasting, having a really strong niche is really, really important. So knowing who your podcast is for, and then who else wants to reach those people. So as an example, we have a podcast that we support who has a podcast for the mining industry. And that industry is actually, although most people will never think of it, it's a huge, wealthy international industry. And he's speaking to people that work in that industry. So there are very specialist firms, like say a recruitment firm or an insurance firm that work specifically for those industries. And he was able to approach them because he knows he's got an incredibly captive audience. So if you know who your listener is, you can find out who else wants to speak to them. And before you've recorded anything, you can say, I'll be making content for these people. Here is why these people will listen to my show. And I'd like to offer you the chance to buy ads before I've done anything, lock in my first 10 episodes. So knowing who else needs to speak to your audience, and then, talking to them in a compelling and convincing way, showing your authority, why people would come and listen to your show. But yeah, finding out who else would listen to your audience, also who else needs the attention of your potential audience. And then that's how all marketing works. Sell the attention to someone else and you'll get paid for it.
So that real niche audience is almost more valuable to a potential sponsor.
100%. This wouldn't work if you were starting a comedy show and you approached Coca-Cola and you said, hey, I haven't launched my show yet, but would you like to buy my ads really, really cheap? No, because, that's a commodity. There's no reason they can't buy ads down the line. But if you're doing it in a niche where there is an advantage to being on the first 10 in the long run, then that's where it can really, really work. So definitely works the best for more niche podcasts with more specific topics, and it can actually work really, really well there.
Got you. And how would you go about pricing that?
So the standard industry CPM, and we're saying this in August 2022, is about $22. So CPM, for anyone that has never worked in ads before, is your cost per 1,000. So if you've got 1,000 downloads, you would get $22. So, $22 for every 1,000 downloads or listens that you get. Now, that rate is generic, and that is what you'll get from, say, a Spotify or a Simba Mattresses or a BetterHelp when they sponsor someone. If you're working in a niche, you hope to have a much higher CPM than that. And then you also hope that you can add on something for the fact that they're buying like a lifetime exclusive, for example. So I would definitely say, like, if you're starting out, you're looking to be able to like create some, let's call it seed capital to like fund your show going forward. So if you had a target, you could work backwards from that. And I think if you were looking to put together a deal, and it depends on your industry, of course, the money in that industry. If you had a podcast for financial services or for law, the people that work in that industry have a lot more money. The value of a lead could be a lot more. So it will be subjective, but you definitely want to be looking to get, something and selling individual episodes for maybe, 1,000 plus. If you're locking people in and you're saying you'll own this episode forever, if you could get to 1,000 and say to people, look, you'll have this episode forever, you'll own it for its lifetime, I'll integrate you heavily into the episode, and you could then sell, 5 episodes for 5,000, or say you'll give them the first 10 for 5,000. I think you can quickly, if you're able to do it, fund your first 1-2 year of podcasting, even with a profit, without having to have recorded anything or put any of your own money down.
Got you. You can also, I guess, frame it as this is the cheapest it'll ever be. Is once you start, you'll be getting way more listens than zero. So it's only going to go up the price of the sponsorship of your show, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great way to pitch it to people is, I'm effectively giving you a once in a podcast offer. I'm only, my ad rates are only going to go up. The only reason I'm doing this is because I haven't started yet and I want to get some, capital in. So yeah, that's a great way of pitching it.
Like buying a house from plot almost.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, yeah.
Got you. Thank you very much, Tom. Everyone listening, please remember to leave us a review, subscribe to the podcast, and we'll see you next time.